introduction. Now, before we start on my subject, which is don't quit and stay positive, I'll just give you a little bit of my own background. We have a wholesale business called Bailborough Supplies. It's in Bailborough. Obviously, I'm not very unique in the name, friend. And we wholesale ventilation and disability equipment. Both for bathrooms, so that's where the connection is there in case they look a bit weird. And since the recession, business has gone downhill slowly. Now, I would have preferred had it gone off a cliff, because if I had, I might have taken action quicker, you know, but I didn't. We all remember the beginning of the recession, and the buzzword was, if we last through these 6 months, we'll be grand. Now, these 6 months have still turned into 6 years, and we're still not grand. So the business was starting to diminish because a lot of the stuff we did into the building industry, and the other half of it was provided by grants from the government, which also ran out of money. We gave a great service, and we thought it was all about the personal touch. But again, people, the products that we were buying, they were just going where it was cheaper. So everything that we tried to change, we put in our savings, we took a loan, I was paying a back bill on a credit card, we did everything to kind of keep it up and running. But eventually, we had to realise it's not working. So it's making a profit, but not enough to give us a living. I don't mean an installation living, I mean a living. So we had to look at, well, what else could I do? And I came to the stark answer, nothing. I said, oh good God, I'm 53, I'm school when I'm 14, I'm trained in nothing. So what else can I do? I said, well, nothing. So then I changed it a little, and it was a topic that some of the other guys throughout today touched on, is what would I like to do? And what do I love doing? And I realised I love presenting, and I love performing. I'm talking about in a play, but I actually like situations like this. 3 years I've done stand-up comedy, I've done television, radio, I've done MC, DJ, Quizmat, all that kind of thing. But I did it for fun. If there was an event going on, when we lived in Dublin, it was in Dublin, he'll do it, great. And everybody would say, God, I don't know how you do that. I knew athletes was doing that. And they thought it was great. So I realised that it was kind of an area that I loved. So I said, I wonder how could I make a living out of that. So I went back to college after having left school in the early 70s, 14, and wow, what a shock that was. Yeah, I was kind of way behind everybody else, but I went back to college to study how to be a trainer. So I realised what I can do is I can train people and speak to groups and pass on, not what I've learned from books. The only thing I went back to college was the technicality of doing it. I knew I had a presentation skill, I knew I had the knowledge because I've been in business since my early 20s, up, down, everything in between, so I knew I had the knowledge. So I went back to college to learn how to impart that to people. So that is basically what I'm doing here today. And I have a simple message to pass on to people, which is basically, don't quit and stay positive. Now, when we look at that slide, we see, it's the same fella, by the way, who's taking, he's a different shirt on and a bottom. I don't know what the story is about that. And basically, it's a case of he's chipping away, and we're all chipping away. The second half of the slide, he's given up. This isn't for me. But as you can see, how close he is to the diamonds, or to his goal, or to the business working, or the relationship you want, whatever you want to call it, we all gave up too easy. Now what else could he have done? He could have used different tools. He could have gotten more help. He could have gone in a different direction. But he gave up. And as I said, that's what happens when you give up. But you don't know the bottom bit, because you don't know how close you are when you do give up, because you've already given up. Because the old saying is, the darkest time is just before the dawn. And it's true. And when you think about it, how many times would you be turned down before you gave up? How many no's would you take on the door before you said, no, this isn't working, I'm going to stop? Well, we all know this guy, Colm fried chicken. Well, he's KFC now. In my days, he took me fried chicken. And his slogan was, finger licking good. But I don't think it's even that anymore. I think the PC Brigade got him with his finger licking good. Anyone know how many no's this guy got when he was going around selling this idea that he'd come up with a franchise of fried chicken. How many no's he got? He got 1,009 no's before somebody said, yeah, I think I'll take on that franchise. Now, not only did he get 1,009 no's, but he was also 65 and he had just retired. So everything seemed to be going against him, but he didn't quit. He knew what his goal was, and his goal was, I want this chain of KFCs. Now, any of us involved in sales or presentations and stuff like that, how many no's did we get last week? I know I got several, you know, and you come away from them and you're kind of, oh God, that's bad, you know, we have to couple. How would you feel if not 1,009 over a space and you got some good, some bad, and when you added up all the no's, no, it was 1,009 no's in a row. He didn't give up, he kept going. Which is probably why very few of us here will ever end up owning a worldwide chain of fast food restaurants. Now, what can we do to help ourselves when we appear to be getting nowhere? Look at this poor fella here, banging our heads against the brick wall. And we've all been there. We've had, as the Friends music goes, we've had days, weeks, months, and even years. Nothing goes right and everything goes wrong. And you just want to kind of give up and stop. Like I said, I'm in Dublin and Cavan, but I'm sure this side of the border, things are as challenging. So what do we do to keep ourselves going? What we can do, and what we should do, is be positive. We should think positive, we should be positive, and we should act positive. Because if we're positive, and if that can change things, that's great news, because it's something we have total control over. No supplier, no customer, no banker, nobody and nothing can stop us from being positive. The only person who can is ourselves. If we decide to be negative, we can be negative, but if we decide to be positive, we can. All we have to do is put our minds to it and tell ourselves that it will work, because that's what positive is, telling ourselves to keep going, and that we will make it. Nobody but ourselves can stop ourselves being positive. Very easy to say, but how do you do that? For that, I'm going to go back to my DJ roots. I'm going to do a top 5 of how to stay positive. And they are only mix with positive people. Only watch, read, and listen to positive media. Create a positive body. Create a positive attitude. And actively give positive gratitude. Now, only mix with positive people. This is a Monday. How many people here today feel so much more positive today than you did last Monday? Oh, the fact that there was a bank holiday negates that question. So we'll say 2 Mondays ago. I'm sure everybody is jotting notes, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. Good, I feel good, yeah. Why? Because you're mixing with positive people. Nobody has come to somebody today with like, you know what I was thinking of doing? I said, that never worked. Nobody came to that. People looked at you, you were interested in what you had to say. They were positive about what they had. You know, there was no negative influences. Everything in the people that were at today, and it wouldn't be great if there was one of these events on every Monday. And this is how we started our week off. We've been surrounded by all this positivity. We can't unfortunately, so we have to create it inside our heads. And one of the things we do is we avoid the people who make us feel negative. Now, the obvious answer to that, and I know it also came up today, is immediate family. You can't kind of avoid them. And unfortunately, some of our immediate family are probably the worst. But apart from the people that you can't do without, anyone negative should be dropped ASAP. Positive media. Media is full of doom and gloom. Down south we have Joe Duffy, and I think the northern equivalent is Stephen Nolan. And you ring up, and you're bitching about this, and people ring up with their problems, and they're getting it off their chest. But what are they doing? You're listening to it, and you have something similar. And you come away from listening to it. And the newspapers are the same, full of doom and gloom. I recently, on a television program that I interviewed a newspaper editor, and she put her hands up. You know, put one, I can't remember which one it was. But she said, bad news sells papers. Someone somewhere had an experiment where they were going to have a positive-only edition of a paper. And it didn't work. People want to find the bad news. And that's just the way it is. Now, do stay in touch with the news. Have a look at the headlines. Read the articles. But don't go into the in-depth knowledge. The classic example of that was HMV. HMV, although thankfully the news is a little better this month, but a couple of months ago, news was bad because people are no longer buying CDs, LPs and singles. I don't think anyone buys singles and LPs anymore. HMV had to close, and that's sad. So, and if you read the headlines, HMV had to close, that's how it goes. And then you start reading the analysis of that. And then you start reading, oh, well, of course, HMV closing, that's really an indication of a downturn in the retail sector. And then you read further, and of course, there's a general downturn in all businesses. There's not unlike the retail sector, and that's what happened to HMV. And then all of a sudden, as I'm in the general sector, I realise, hey, that affects me too. I mean, HMV is closed, which I probably haven't been in since Christmas, 12 months. I don't do ethnic music, nothing like that. But by starting to go analyse the story that they have, I suddenly start realising, oh God, my business is going to be affected. You know, so certainly be aware of what's going on, but don't spend too much time analysing the bad news. We buy the Sunday papers. I remember not that long ago, I'd come home with a pile of Sunday papers that high, and then you'd go through every detail of every different opinion, and all you do is end up depressing yourself. Because in fact, most papers thrive on the bad news. So what can you do rather than listen to? They say classical music is great to listen to. Personally, I couldn't, I have to admit. So when I'm going around, I like to listen to, show my age, music from the 70s and 80s, oldies stations. For two reasons. First of all, I think it's great music. Secondly, it brings me back to my era and my heyday. But the other thing you can do, which is a lot easier now, is listen to positive recordings. Again, a couple of years ago, you had to go to large either music stores or bookstores to get a positive book on tape that you could listen to. Now with the internet, if you type in motivational, with the word free in front of it, motivational speeches, you can download an awful lot onto your iPhone for free. And listening to that will leave you in a better frame of mind than listening to Joe Duffy, people ringing up, complaining about what they haven't got, or what their neighbours did. Positive body. You should project confidence. Look the part. I remember there was a song, walk tall, walk straight, look the world right in the eye. When you analyse it, it's true. Because if you're walking around, you feel bad, people's first impression of you, and I was on a talk earlier, and just the last one, and your impression is made of somebody in 7 seconds. So if the first thing that they say is just slouch and not care, you've lost whoever you're talking to. Be in a business discussion, be in a personal, be in a family. Always try, where possible, project confidence. It'll make yourself feel better, and you'll make the person that you're trying to deal with, as I said, either to make a direct sale or maybe to kind of build it up. Smile. Costs nothing. But again, somebody else used the slide there with Rory McIlroy. I couldn't get anyone. Yeah, he's a nice little smile. But when you think about it, when somebody smiles, it kind of works both ways. First of all, you because I'm happy. The analogy I would use, what do you do when you go to bed? You pretend you're asleep. You know, you lie down, you turn the lights off, you put your head in the pillow, and because you're pretending to be asleep, hey, eventually you go to sleep. And smiling, and for want of a better word, walking the walk and dressing, it's a bit like that. I want to be confident, so I'm projecting myself as confident, I'm acting confident, and you eventually will become confident. I suppose the simple way of looking at it, when have you been at home, you're having a row. You can't do this. But somebody knocks on the door. And you go, oh, come here, it's a bit like seeing Father Ted. And the shopkeeper and his wife are having and they stop it. But if somebody is in your house for an hour and you've been putting on pretending everything is normal, they're gone. And suddenly you don't get around anymore. Because you've told yourself yourself, I want to act normal because we have visitors here. So if you can do that when somebody's coming in, effectively, you can do that all the time. So that's how you kind of have, I suppose, a positive mind as well as a positive body. What should you eat, drink and smoke? As somebody eats, drinks and smoked too much in the past, I suppose I'm not one to talk. Exercise. And what's the best exercise you can do? Whichever one you do. Be it walk the dog to the shops, be it take the stairs instead of an elevator, is much better for you if that's what you do than joining the gym and not going. I had a nephew and he worked in a gym in Dublin, and he said he rushed off his feet in January. You were battling with the Lord to throw money at. This was the day before you could pay it daily, weekly, or whatever. But you booked your year, and people just, oh, this is my New Year's resolution, I'm going to the gym. And the gym was packed. They took a year's subscription in January, about maybe 80% of their cash came in that month. And then a couple of weeks later, everybody was gone. I was in a gym, but I'm not doing that. But if you want to keep yourself fit, do what you can. No matter what. A little bit is better than nothing, because you kind of have to look after your body. Positive attitude. I suppose when it comes to positive attitude, and the most recent positive affirmation that we've come across has been, yes we can, Obama. Now of course we're 4.5 years into it, and everybody thinks Obama's great, thinks of sliced power, and it's great that he's done that. But if you go back to the summer of 2008, when he was running for the primary, he was a black man running for the presidency of America. Everybody says, God, he looked very well, isn't he? A great speaker. They never elected, for more reasons than you could go into. But his slogan was, yes we can. And he repeated that to his staff, to his team, and it became a reality. Because, of course, he had a lot else going for him as well, but it's the fact that he believed that he could, and he actually changed the thoughts of an entire nation. So you should always think positive thoughts. And deliberately, if when you, and we all get them, we all get the negative thoughts. I'm having one right now, to be honest with you. And as soon as they come in, replace them with a positive thought. I know it sounds arrogant, but it's the reality of what you should and can do. Because your brain can't handle two thoughts at one time. So if you can push out the negative thoughts and bring in a positive thoughts, your mind will be more at ease. Another thing we should do, ignore things that are outside our control. My daughter came to me the other day, in her fourth year in college, and I think she phrased it was, Dad, you know this fella in Korea? What's the story? Is he going to end the world or what? I'm thinking, whew, I know I left school at 14, obviously things haven't changed that much. That's how knowledge of world affairs. But the reason I bring that up is because there's nothing I can do about that. So why should I worry about that? I can't. No, but if he presses a button and we're all gone, we're gone anyway. There's nothing I can do about it. And we should focus on the things that we have control of. And when it comes to an attitude, what's the thing that gets the most of us? Worry. We worry about everything. What percentage of things that we worry about actually happen? Not happen the way we thought was. That breaks it down even smaller. 90% of the things we worry about don't happen. Yet we have spent time around. I was talking with a pal there a couple of nights ago. Actually, it was a long weekend. And he was telling me, every end of the month, he has worried himself sick, physically sick, saying, will it be enough for the rent, the direct debit for the rates, pay the staff, pay all the bills. I said, I actually worry myself sick. I said, well, good God, how has that been on? 10 years. I said, but have you ever missed any of that? No. So, for the past 10 years, yes, of course things have been tight, they've been up and they've been down, and there's times, well, I'm not sure, but every month, yes, without fail, yes, you worry yourself physically sick, will you make it, and you always have. Now, he's worrying about something that, by his very nature, he has proved the ability to do every month. It might be, he might be fed up and kind of juggling around for it, but he always does it. Yet he worries himself sick. And he's not his own. I know, I do the same about various things. And you wonder, why do you worry? And then, when they don't happen, you think, well, what's that about? And then somebody else said, but we don't learn from that. So our problem is we worry too much about things that don't happen. Certainly I'm not talking about putting your head in the sand and ignoring everything, but there are things that we worry about that's just not going to happen. Affirmations, going back to Obama with his Yes We Can. Bill Colm, I know he's been down, but Bill is on the way back. Here's what he stood in the mirror of this, is I'm terrific. And what affirmation did we tell ourselves that would give us the boost that we need? When we start off the morning, if we told ourselves we were terrific, like Bill, or whatever, we should look at something like that. Always try and pass on your positivity. Be somebody that people want to be around, because I get a buzz out of them. Rather than, we all know Mona Minnie's or Mona Martin's, gender mixed audience, where you don't, oh good God, look who's coming. Because you know they're going to start bitching and moaning about something. Make sure you're not that person. Always pass on your positivity from yourself. And it goes without saying that the best part of a positive attitude is to be respectful and courteous of each other. And the last one is to give positive gratitude. One of the products that I sell, called a Hippocamp all-terrain wheelchair. And basically what it does is, if you're in a wheelchair, it gets you onto the beach, into the forest, and actually into the sea. Now it's probably the only product that I sell directly to the end user. So as a result, I'm in a lot of people's homes with kids with special needs. I'm telling you, it's an eye-opener when I see how the kids handle things, how the siblings of somebody in a wheelchair, because the whole family is kind of on topsy-turvy to make allowance for what we have, how the parents deal with them. I thank God for healthy, happy children, and I know the stress that can cause. And it's only when I'm in people's homes and I see what problems they have that I'm really grateful for what I have. Then when I come home from that, I give the kids a hug. You don't know what's happening. And I just sit down and I thank God or whoever for what we have and relish what we have. Because what we should do is learn from the past, think of the future, but live in the moment. So just to, instead I got the wind-up signal there, I'll give you a recap of the top 5, which is basically positive people. Hang around with them. Positive media, avoid like the plague. Try and create a body, a positive body, create a positive attitude, and give positive gratitude. So as I said in the beginning, it's a simple message, don't quit, and stay positive. Thank you for your time.
If anyone would like to ask quick questions, just that conscious